Stop
We'll have to
cusping
dress up.
the tips of the microphone.
I'll wear a tuxedo at every show.
Let me open
You
up-
know what
let me open
I
my
thought?
Jesus sad notes.
So like old school YouTube, they would have these like, oh, this is the face reveal. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
it was converting. So I was like, dude, we should totally do a Step Brothers-esque picture for the face reveal.
Yes.
Where we go and get like our cardigans and
I
stuff
think we
like
should
that.
get all matching windsuits.
yeah. Oh, I agree with. I like that. I call
some-
red.
And no, matching.
Oh gosh, that's too much.
Like a
do it like-
uniform.
Royal Tenenbaums.
You know what would be dope, though, is that classic 90s spray, you know, like you saw in all the cups.
yeah.
Yes.
And then get us some pit vipers.
Oh yeah. I think I used to own 2 pairs.
Yes, you did.
Yep.
And I slay you, roast you.
So we leave for Disney on Friday in the morning, and Jack was over his baby sunglasses. So
Yeah.
he went and picked some out. They're the solid, like,
Color? Yeah.
like you see the construction guys wearing, like
Yeah.
the giant. And so now he is Marty McFly's son, because
I
all he
love
does is play VR. And he has a hat that is like holographic, and he has the sunglasses. And I'm like,
Nice.
That's awesome.
All he needs a hoverboard.
I wish he had one.
You
Talk about
wish
breaking
you had
limbs.
one.
Talk about breaking arms.
I'm surprised you haven't 3D printed one just to have one yet.
All right. Well, let's get into Grave of the Fireflies.
Let's
Guys
do
ready?
it.
All right. Welcome to the Movies with Chill podcast. I'm your host, Chill. Today we'll be reviewing Grave of the Fireflies from 1988. Grave of the Fireflies is a war drama, which is also animated, directed by Isao Takahata, based on 1967 semi-autobiography short story by Akiyuki Nosaka, starring... Okay, so here's what I did, because we have the original Japanese voice. Mm-hmm. The second one is going to be the Sky Pilot and Toho variation, which is what we watched, okay. For the dub. And then there's a new dub for the Blu-ray, which I hear is like excellent dub. Well, we weren't able to do that. So but
I looked
wanted
it up. It's $100 on eBay for the
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
isn't it crazy? Freaking insane.
That's nuts.
It is
insane.
crazy.
So, Seita is played by Tsutomu.
Bless you.
Yeah. And then J. Robert Spencer for Sky Pilot and Toho, and Adam Gibbs for Saffron and Sati. Setsuko, played by Anyo Sarasashi.
Setsuko.
Yeah.
I'm hungry, Setsuko.
No. Hungry.
That is the Setsuko is the little girl.
I'm hungry.
Seita.
Seta.
Seita.
I'm hungry, Seta.
And Emily Neves. And then Mrs. Yoko...
Oh, no. Just
Oh
say
no.
oh, no.
No,
No?
that's not
Dang
Yoko
it.
Ono. It's Yokokawa, which is the mom, played by Veronica Taylor and Shelley Calene-Black. The aunt is played by
Boo.
Akemi Yamaguchi and Amy Jones and Marcy
Banger.
Banger.
Marcy Banger.
Marcy Banger. Apologies for every single one of those.
You should.
Apologies. Even the English ones. Mm-hmm. When 14-year-old Seita and his 4-year-old sister, Setsuko, try to survive American air raids on Japan during 1945's World War II. As always, I'm joined by David and Lee. How are you boys doing today?
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi. And
Oi.
you guys watch anything new this week?
Anything new besides this? I don't think so.
No.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so.
No, nothing new.
Logan and I are watching a new anime.
Oh, shocker.
Yep. I know, surprising.
Gave up on One Piece after 2,000 episodes?
We're stuck on 2. We're just about to finish Skypiea, but Logan kind of wants to pump the
break.
brakes a little bit from...
Doesn't want to get through it too fast.
Right. Want to savor the flavor.
Savor, yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
But we're watching Kaiju number 8.
I want to watch that, actually. That's
It's-
on Crunchyroll.
It is. You can
Is
borrow our Crunchyroll if you want.
Is it good?
I think it's fun. Yeah. I think it's fun. The tone is kind of like whimsical, but then the action when it hits really
Pretty
hard.
hard,
So
yeah.
it's
That's
pretty cool.
That's cool.
I really feel like I watched something this week, and I cannot think of what it was, so it must not have been mind-blowing.
Right. So I picked Grave of the Fireflies because is one of the few Studio Ghibli movies that I thought that I've never watched, but I'm almost...
Because it's inaccessible to everybody.
Yes.
You know what's really
But
weird is
I remember watching it as a kid. Now
Really?
that I think back on it. Yeah. I remember
Dude.
watching it.
Annie's oldest boy, Colton, swears he's seen it.
Yeah.
Madison today
Well, it
picked
might
a-
be because it's what 1988, right?
Maddie picked
So
a DVD copy up. She goes, I'm almost positive I rented this from the library. I'm like,
Interesting.
get out of here.
I will tell you that, not that I endorse this, but I was talking to employees about this, and
Right.
they found it online dubbed
Yeah.
on a not legal website,
Right.
but watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I was talking about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
It well.
Did you ever find out the name of that movie?
what movie? No.
No.
No, I have a
gosh.
6-minute recording of her describing it.
Uh-huh.
My buddy Rickman said that he remembers parts of it, but not the other parts of it. So I'm just wondering if like she saw multiple movies and mashed them together.
Frankenstein it.
Dude, I don't know, but it drives me crazy that I
Sounds
cannot
wild.
that I can't figure out what it
It
is.
sounds wild.
Wow.
Yeah, that next day she was like, "Did anyone know?" And I'm like, "No."
If she could tell me what station she watched it on.
That's the thing is she said it could have been Stars or HBO. She said if she felt like it was a made for that
original.
it was an original.
So if it's an original on Stars or HBO, it's still there. 'Cause
Right.
They don't delete those things.
Right.
No.
But I'm saying I have Googled 200 different bits of information,
Yeah.
come up with different horror movies or thrillers,
None of them are
and
that.
none of them match.
The description.
None of them even come close to it. Like,
Yeah, the description is wild.
Yeah. It's insane.
Wild.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
For
A fog,
anyone listening.
a fog / ghost
Yeah.
that goes into a girl while
Possesses
they're
a girl.
showering after being in a hot tub with a bunch of high schoolers. The high schoolers are the new goth girl gets invited to a party, and there's like the head cheerleader, the jock. So it's like your
basic.
very stereotypical,
High school party.
right? And I think that one of the guys likes her. That's why she got invited.
Uh-huh.
So they go shower after the hot tub. Some mist fog thing goes into one of them. Doesn't really change her personality. She just becomes kind of possessed by it.
Uh-huh.
Ends up killing people. She said the dad of the house eventually busts in and
Are you sure?
gets murdered. And it's
It's not a TV show.
Sounds
It's
like
a movie.
Sounds like 13 different reasons meets Scream.
I know, but the
Right.
craziest part is that there's like an Asian guy in it, and she's like pointing the gun at him, and she goes and shoots down to the floor.
Is the Asian guy a jock?
No, I don't. So I don't know. She shoots the floor and doesn't shoot him, but it shows later on that the Asian guy is under the floor, and that it has something to do with time travel, and so
just
she
wild.
kills him in the future. But then the whole movie ends. She's sitting in the car outside of the house and hasn't even gone inside yet, and has had this premonition of this is what's going to happen.
So we're going to put it on you guys. If you have any idea what movie this is the ongoing
I
mystery.
dare you to find it.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I dare
it's a
you.
challenge because I
Anyone
I
that
consider
can
myself.
come up with the name of this movie and legitimately confirm who this is, I will invite you on the show.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I also
And I will bow down
consider
to your
myself
movie
a
knowledge.
master Googler.
Right?
Like I judge people when they Google something. Like
Yeah.
my mom was Googling something the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is she typing in?
Myths.
Right. Right. Like what is happening?
Movie where this happened.
Like you just
and-
keyword it and it will
Yeah.
pop stuff up.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I've looked through hundreds and hundreds of movies and cannot figure it out.
This is what happens when you don't have video stores anymore.
Right. Right.
And you don't have that guy behind the counter
That knows.
every single
But
frame
that's the thing.
of
So, like,
every movie.
Rick has this like crazy memory of character names, and he just stores them. He has like eidetic memory when it comes to even like 70s cartoons. He can name every character on the show
Damn.
and who played him, who voiced him. You know,
That's crazy.
And he's the best person to take with trivia
Yeah.
because he'll be like, oh yeah, and he'll write it down. But I asked him, and he said it sounds vaguely familiar, but. He goes, I really think that I didn't prompt this. I really think I watched that like on HBO or Stars or something.
Dang.
And I'm like, oh, oh my
Another
God.
piece of the puzzle. He's
Right.
the killer.
Yeah,
That's
it was Rick the
information.
entire time.
Yes, he didn't have that information. We got ya.
So
Cuff 'em, boys.
if you guys know the name of this movie, please know. Lee's inviting you on, and you
Heck
can
yeah.
pick the movie we review, and you can be our guest for that one.
Yep.
So.
All right.
All right.
Dope.
Back to your point. One of the biggest things about this movie is that there's a scuffle over the rights for Grave of the Fireflies, and can't find it anywhere. We all rented it from the library in order to watch it, and it was in the kids section. And I was like,
Feel good movie.
all right, but we don't condone illegal piracy
No,
of movies.
no, we do not.
We do not.
But we do understand.
Yeah,
I see its uses.
So
yeah,
this is the first time you guys watched the movie?
yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
never heard of it
Never
before
heard
you
of it.
mentioned it.
All right.
I probably will never watch it again.
No.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like a Schindler's List.
Right.
It's not bad.
No.
Not bad.
I didn't feel happy
It's
for
gonna
2
get higher-
hours, so
it's going
that's
to get
for
a higher
sure.
rating than the Raid.
Well,
Yeah, that's for sure.
all right. Well, the icebreaker for this episode.
My mom
is-
actually said, "I love how you guys just completely drill him about the Raid."
my gosh.
I was at a
Every
graduation
time.
party this weekend, and she goes, "I really have to watch the Raid. What's it on?" Because all you guys do is drill him about the Raid.
And
Give
you
her
know
my
what?
Voodoo login.
She's
So-
gonna be like, "I liked it."
When-
I can hear her.
Like that movie.
Initial blow up on YouTube right now started with the Raid, with recommendations, and people from the Philippines and Indonesia and all that
Oh,
stuff. where
they're going to be ripping
they
us.
started, Yeah, they started us off, and I think the Raid almost has
Almost 1,000.
almost 1,000 views now, which is insane.
To all my people out there listening to us in the Asian Pacific islands
Right.
and whatnot, just give me another chance. You know, it wasn't a bad
So,
movie. It
I was-
just, you
I was
know,
That's the thing, is it wasn't a bad movie. It was built up, but then I looked at it as a quote unquote movie reviewer,
Yeah.
and I was like, "There's no story here.
No.
Like it literally is just action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of it, but
and good action.
It's great. Yeah.
Like I have no complaints.
Well,
you guys-
Action
you
is
guys-
an S.
You guys
right?
even said
We
that.
said
Yeah,
that.
Story
Action
is an
S.
F.
yeah,
Yeah,
action S. Everything else, no.
right.
All right. Well, our icebreaker for this is, why do you think some people are so apprehensive to try out anime or animated movies?
I mean, I can tell you from my point of view is I don't connect with cartoons like I do live action.
Okay.
It's very hard for me to get a feeling for a character, and I don't know what that. There's no explanation for it.
Well,
That's how I feel.
I see where you're coming from, because there's not a lot of body language, facial expression change, and that is important to me.
Okay.
If you're trying to act a certain way, and like if you're in pain and you're deadpan, you're not in pain. You're saying lines.
Right.
You're telling me you are, but you're not showing me
I think it's
anything.
also just the way my brain works. Like it is ink on paper
Yeah.
to me. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like so, the story absolutely is amazing.
Yeah.
I can read a comic book and love it,
Right.
but as soon as it's like a cartoon, like I am a Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
and I cannot get
Can't
through
watch
Clone
Clone
Wars. I
Yeah.
can't get
Bad Batch?
Yeah, I just have no interest. I've tried, and I'm just like I got nothing.
Okay.
I don't know.
So on the other end of that spectrum, I've been watching anime since I was a kid.
Yeah,
And
you're wired differently than I am.
right.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where anime can be a lot slower than most Americanized shows. So you're able to kind of, at least for me, I'm able to get in that world and then
Digest it better.
digest
Yeah.
everything. You think about when artists put down the background almost, where it's like every little thing, even if you don't even notice it, like
Was
for
meant to be
example,
there.
was meant to be there,
Right.
and somebody took the time to
Right.
draw it out.
The world
Listen,
building
here's the
is-
deal. I
is-
completely appreciate it. I
right.
have nothing against anime.
Right.
Because I've watched like Trigun and I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, like I have nothing against it. I just
It's hard to connect. for
I
you.
just don't like seek it out.
I hear you.
Right. So like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or whatever,
Yeah.
I loved. Like
Yeah,
I've
that's
watched
great.
it so many times. I think it's
Right.
great. I don't know why I could connect to it.
Yeah.
And you still haven't watched one episode of Invincible.
It's really funny. So I was on Sideshow Collectibles. I don't know if you've seen those. They're like the
Oh, yeah.
statues. Well, they have
Those are
Invincible ones
Invincible?
coming out.
Nice.
And they're like 26 inches tall. So there's
Whoa.
one of the, I don't know.
Omni-Man?
Yes. And
Yes.
then one of like the main character.
Invincible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Invincible. And they're like, I think they're like $800 or $900
All
bucks.
right.
Usually their stuff is like $200 or $300.
I hope,
But they're
I hope
like-
they
Hold-
continue this line.
Hold on. As soon as, if you ever see one of
Three characters.
three characters, and I'm going to tell you one
Actually,
right now.
Four.
Battle Beast
Oh,
would probably be the best one, and it's like a lion-looking dude
Okay.
with like dreads
Battle
almost.
Beast is the greatest comic book character that ever lived.
I really do need to watch it.
You do.
I feel like I'll like it.
You will.
Yeah.
You will.
You will. I know you, Dave.
That's
You'll
great.
love it.
So, all right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the movie before we get into spoilers. Grave of the Fireflies has a runtime of 89 minutes, and it premiered twice. Premiered in Japan April 16th, 1988, and then July 26th, 1989 in the United States. Oh, that's freaking slick. Oh, that's cool. He's showing us pictures of
Omni-Man.
Yep, the
this
sideshow.
Omni-Man
Yeah,
stuff.
if you've never been on
That
sideshow.com,
Amazing.
they have the best statues ever.
Awesome. It had a budget of 3.7 million yen, or roughly 24,000 US dollars.
That was the budget?
That was their budget.
Wow.
And it grossed 1.7 billion yen, or 11.1 million US
So it was successful.
in Japan. Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, but here's the thing. And I want to... Have you guys ever watched My Neighbor Totoro?
Nope.
No, I know
never-
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
I know.
So,
yeah.
My Neighbor Totoro came out with Grave of the Fireflies. So you'd go in and you'd watch it. It was a double feature, and that's how it was billed as. So you'd go in with all these little kids, and they'd watch My Neighbor Totoro first, and then they'd end on
And then you
Grave
just
of the
destroy them all.
with Grave
You
of
would
the
ruin their
Fireflies.
lives with
Yes.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Raise you up,
Have this documentary slash
slam
yeah,
you down.
have this feeling for the
Right.
rest of your life.
I hope you enjoy it.
Oh my gosh.
And unfortunately, there's no data for how it did in box office, which I thought was insane. But yeah, so initially distributed with My Neighbor Totoro because it was the only way that the director could have been able to make Totoro. So they had to pair it just for both of them to be made almost.
You can tell that this is a passion movie.
Yes.
Someone made this because they're passionate about the story.
Right.
This is not something that someone's like, you should make a movie about this. The maker of this movie is passionate about the story.
So the animators did both movies, and they actually had a lot of trouble sometimes on which movie they were animating at a certain time, which I thought was crazy.
Is there any like evidence of that in the films?
I would imagine that.
Can you imagine just in Grave of the Fireflies, one of those characters just walking, like being in the
through,
background?
Yeah, Totoro, it's this big ass Totoro just walking
What?
through the jungle. So if you brighten the original release poster of the film, some of the lights from the Fireflies are not actually Fireflies, but incendiary bombs from a B-29 bomber. So that's kind of
Holy shit, man.
right, insane.
It's the feel-good movie of the century.
My God.
Robert Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times considered it one of the best and most powerful war films, and in 2000 included it in his greatest movies of all time list. This is the only Ghibli theatrical feature film not to be acquired during the Disney Takumi deal.
That's because they're like, we'll pass. We'll pass.
We'll pass.
We're not doing that.
This is not happy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Doesn't fit our brand.
right.
No, it does not.
Anything of note before we get into spoilers on anything?
No.
No.
No. The version that we watched was like the special edition from like the 90s.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that if we watch like the Blu-ray, the colors
I
and
will
everything
I will
look
tell you though, it was like it was refreshing
right.
to put that in and feel like I was in the 80s again.
Right.
Like it was
took me a minute-
blurry.
It took me a minute to navigate the menu.
Right. So, but like also it's like blurry.
Like, menu?
Yeah.
What is
Like I'm so used to
What?
4K
Set the
now
disc up.
Oh, yeah.
that, and even the music, it sounded like it came straight from like a VHS. It'd be like,
Oh,
I could hear the motors running.
seriously. But I enjoyed that part. I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty cool.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little nostalgic.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you recommend people watch this movie? If they were able to somehow get a hold of a copy of it, would you recommend that they watch it?
I wouldn't recommend not seeing it,
Okay.
if that makes
To be honest, no.
No?
I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't say don't see it. I'd say
That's yeah.
Are
I'm
you-
not going to stop you from seeing it, or I'm not going to say don't see this movie. It's
Yeah.
terrible. I'm not going to do that.
No.
I'm literally never going to say, hey, you should go watch Grave of the Fireflies. I'm not going to say that to anyone.
no.
Wow.
The only time this is going to come up in conversation is when we talk about this review, or if somebody starts talking about anime. I'm
Or
gonna say,
Studio
"Have you
Ghibli."
have you seen Grave of the Fireflies?
Right.
And if they say yeah, I'm like cool. Or if they say no, I'll go, well, I have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
I don't know. For me personally, this is a very important movie because I feel like whenever you watch, and I'm not going to say that this is necessarily like a war movie,
No.
even though it takes place during war, but I also feel like it kind of needs to be categorized with war movies because it shows you the different side, like the impact that
The
war brings.
inhumanity of everything during
that
war.
Yeah.
What are you
So
trying,
like,
what are you trying to get at, Calvin?
well, you always see. So for example, you always see like Black Hawk Down, or
Well,
you
also
see
like Pearl Harbor is
Yeah.
half love story, half about Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Right. This is not. It is the actions, implications,
the consequences
of decisions made by people that you've never met, like they've never met. They don't know. Half of them don't even know why they're in the war. You know, like
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
these are
Exactly.
villagers. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they don't have anything to do with any.
exactly,
and they're just
affected by
all of it.
And yet-
everything.
Like
and
the
yet-
ultimate. Of, you know, like it's the
Oh, yeah.
ultimate.
and
Yeah.
yet they support the war.
right.
Right.
I mean,
but wouldn't you though? Like if,
right.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Americans
it's
supported
wrong.
the war,
I'm not
and
saying
I
it's
guarantee they
wrong.
had, even if they knew what was happening, I guarantee
Like-
they wouldn't bat an eye at it. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's not affecting them.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
Right.
Seita,
Yeah.
whatever. He was
Seita.
all proud of his dad for being in the
Yeah.
In the
Imperial
Navy.
Navy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's why y'all are getting your butts kicked right now.
But also,
Seita.
yeah, like you were saying, if you put yourself in the American shoes, then it's like, oh yeah, the war of this or the war of that. Yeah, we're going to support our country because
Right.
we're proud,
but
citizens.
it's not in our backyard either.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not affecting us.
I mean, look
So-
what's going on in campuses around the world right now.
Exactly.
Like,
so
that's like it's everything's like it's,
and that's why I feel like it's a very important movie, and that's why I would recommend it to people, is because you're not always put in that predicament,
your angle.
especially. So
I see your angle,
yeah,
and I ain't mad at you for it.
No, I'm not either.
No,
So-
I get it that there is severe collateral damage on both sides when it comes to this subject.
It's all-
exactly. So-
all money, baby.
All about it.
Yep.
And like I was saying, every time you watch like Pearl Harbor or Black Hawk Down, or what's the Tom Hanks one?
Saving
Saving
Private
Private
Ryan.
Saving
Ryan.
Private Ryan. You see the action and you see everything blowing up, and you're cheering on the good guys.
Even
and-
like The Patriot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all those movies.
Yeah.
There's little sub love stories in there,
Yeah.
or adventure stories, or coming of age
And kind of
stories.
romanticizes it.
Exactly.
Right, and this does
Literally.
not do it
Exactly.
at all.
for sure.
It is
So-
only sad.
There's not even any comedic relief.
Nothing.
In this thing.
Oh, I would the brother. We'll get into it.
I mean,
but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Laugh crying.
All right. So let's get into some spoilers then, if we haven't already.
Well, I guess.
Hold
Go
it.
Be
ahead.
sad.
Go
Be
ahead.
sad.
Go ahead. Go.
Be
I
sad now.
guess.
Talk about
What's the
sadness.
point of it going on?
Talk
Who
about
cares?
sadness.
All right.
Sadness all around.
All right.
Womp womp.
Let's get in some trivia.
I'm hungry.
Setsuko.
I'm hungry.
Seita, I'm hungry.
Seita. Hungry.
Such asshole. So insensitive of it.
All right. Trivia. How powerful of a bomb
250
can
kilograms.
the police station handle?
250 kilograms.
That's correct.
Rain Man.
Yeah, right. Where is the first aid and emergency services located after the
The
firebombing?
school.
Elementary school.
That's correct. Yep. Which branch of the military is their dad in?
Navy.
Yep. How much money does mom have in the
$7,000.
$7,000. Yeah.
Yen.
Yen.
Yep.
Yen.
Yeah.
Which they blow through.
Quick.
Boom. What is the can seen throughout the film?
The what?
What tin can is seen
Oh,
throughout
it's the fruit
film?
can.
Fruit
be.
drops,
Yep, fruit drops. That's correct.
which is
And
the
then-
direct correlation to their luck.
I can hear it still. The
When that
Yeah.
can's empty, so's their luck.
yeah.
Bonus question. What is their dad's ship called?
Oh, I don't know.
The Yamamoto. I don't know.
The Maya.
You were close.
You were close. I don't think so. I don't think so.
The Yamamoto was a boat,
You're
but
right.
that's so it was an educated guess.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Good
So-
job, Lee.
I don't
So
know.
we're gonna continue
It was
on.
4 out of 5. Kiss my ass. It's not a movie I didn't want to watch.
So we're.
I
Gonna
did
get
cuss
into
you
our-
all Monday day.
Did you?
God, I'm like, God, I don't want to watch this movie tonight. This is not what I want to do on a Monday night. It's not what I want to do.
My plan was to watch this thing Tuesday morning,
You didn't.
and I didn't watch it Tuesday morning. I said I'll watch it Tuesday afternoon, and I sat down to watch it, and I got bamboozled, taken on a mission I didn't want to go on. Trust me, somebody bait and switched me on a phone call,
Yeah.
and okay.
Do it.
I'm gonna out her. She's gonna hate me. So I get a phone call Tuesday. I just sat down. I'm literally just past the opening credits of this movie. I got my popcorn in my lap, and she calls me and she says, "Get ready." And I'm like, "Get ready?" She's like, "Oh yeah, get ready." I'm like, "Bet." She's like, "I'm on my way home." I'm like, "Bet." So I shut the movie off. I get some stuff together. I'm waiting for her to get home. I got shorts on, and that's about it.
Naked.
And she comes walking in the door finally, and she says, "I meant we're going to the store."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "No, that is not.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
No, that's baloney.
That's a completely different day."
Yes.
I'm highly disappointed,
I'm
Danny.
extremely
Same.
disappointed. Extremely disappointed.
Oh my god.
That's just mean.
It is. It's mean spirited.
It's mean-spirited.
It was malicious.
Yeah. I'm disappointed.
You guys
I
are just
That's
putting
like
this
something.
movie off.
Yeah, we are. Something Bill Murray from Scrooge would
Right?
do.
Right.
I'm just like,
Which has
just
4
like,
views.
get your shoes on.
Please quit.
We're going.
God,
We're going to the
damn.
grocery store.
Hammering.
So I didn't get to watch it Tuesday. So I finally watched it this morning.
All right, start your movie.
All right, so we're going to continue on with our not necessarily long form discussion, but we're just going to kind of talk about scenes that were important, or the worst scenes or the best scenes,
Right.
or just kind of.
I mean, the opening scene is.
Tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super great.
Everybody dies, and it's gonna suck.
It literally opens with the main character dying.
And
Yeah.
celebrating
The
it.
first lines are,
And
"This
literal-
is the day I died."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first line in the movie.
And literally celebrating it and making it, okay, this is a good thing that he died.
Yeah.
Right.
He's finally not suffering anymore.
Right.
So that told me everything I needed to know.
It
about
also
the tone
shows
of the, movie
the
at beginning.
humanity of his own nation in
Yeah.
the exact same
Yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah. Because
Like,
There's nothing
not,
they can do about it.
There's not just him, but a bunch of other, I'm assuming, kids in the subway.
Well,
that
they've
hunched
got to be
over.
teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No older. Like, he's got to be, in between the age of 12 and 16, I would guess?
Yeah.
He was 14 in the movie.
Okay.
14 in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's a child,
Yeah.
you know?
And
but he's
I
treated
thought-
like an adult.
I
in the
thought
end.
he did a rather excellent job for as long as he did.
I did too.
Yeah.
Very resourceful child.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But yeah, the beginning is how it ends.
what the janitor comes up and they kind of empty his pockets and they find that little fruit can, and at first you're kind of like, oh, I wonder what the
It
fruit
looks like
can
an
is.
old-timey oil can, like a tin can.
It looks like an old cocoa powder tin.
Yeah,
An
yeah,
old
like a Hershey's.
cocoa powder
Yeah.
tin.
And they just take it and they chuck it out in the middle of,
It's like,
He threw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
he
out.
did.
Yeah.
He
And
wound up.
it busts open, and
something falls out.
falls
and
out.
it's like little ashes, like it's a piece of bone, is
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
what it is.
guessing.
It's her
bone.
ashes.
Yeah.
But you don't know that
Yeah.
at first.
And then when
You figured out
real
within
quick,
seconds.
when the fireflies come up, and then she just
And
appears,
she's there.
Appears.
Yeah.
and then he appears behind her in full uniform.
Well, because she looks over and sees him in the train station,
Yeah.
and her face drops, and he puts his hand on her shoulder,
Yeah,
and they walk
smile.
up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of them going throughout the journey of their life.
They're riding, they get on a train. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a ghost train.
Yeah.
They get on the train, and they are looking out the window, and it
Valhalla.
starts with the bombing of Kobe, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
B-29 bombers just
Firebombing.
And I say,
Firebombing.
yeah, it's firebombing. They're dropping flares, nitrous flares, right?
Yeah.
And it-
nitrate. I
and
think
it
it's
kind of
nitrate.
looks like
Probably phosphorus.
and it kind of
phosphorus
looks
flares,
like
yeah.
fireflies, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and here we are, Grave of the Fireflies. So
Yep, that is the first 4 minutes of this movie.
Right.
So you're like, here we go.
Yep.
How did this happen? Can't wait for the comedic relief in this movie.
Right. Comes in like the first 10 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's all you get.
yeah,
Just the one.
Yeah.
that scene where he's kind of running and the mom is
He's just getting stuff together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's getting stuff together because they say, "Hey, there's another air raid,"
Air raid coming.
and then she says one of the most heartbreaking lines to me, which was, "I hate going to the bomb shelter," implicating she's been there more than one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
They
4-year-old
say
girl,
it's hot.
Yeah.
She says hot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
and so pack up all their stuff and they put their food up, dig a
Yeah,
hole
they
and
bury their
bury their food.
food and their belongings, like
Belongings,
important
yeah.
belongings.
they're important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like Seita, the older brother, has done that. I don't know how many times.
Just the fact that he had to pause to put his shoes on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Had to think about it.
he has her the entire time, and he has her like in this weird little strap thing on his back.
Yeah.
And he's the one worrying about like getting all the supplies, and
Yeah.
the mom just leaves.
Yeah.
I'll meet you at the
I'll
shelter.
meet you over there.
Doesn't take the little girl with her.
No.
Thank God.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Not that it turns out any better, but
Well, at least she's got a
little bit
little bit.
of time.
Let's say probably a year.
But
they had.
that part surprised me. Like as a parent,
Yeah.
I would take the
Yeah.
littlest one probably with me if there's two.
Yeah.
Or I'd just be like, let's all go together,
Exactly.
forget our stuff. Unless they had like a plan. But I don't know, you know.
They don't really
go into
specify
that.
on.
I just want to talk about how the chaos
Oh.
of firebombing.
yeah.
Because they say in the film it can't be put out.
No.
Yeah.
No matter
done.
how much water you throw on it, it doesn't go out because it's the
It's
phosphorus.
chemical.
Yeah, it's chemical burn.
It's phosphorus.
And
yeah.
the U.S. specifically did fire bombings because all of
Every
these suburbs
structure's
were wooden at the time.
Wooden and hay and like
So they
Thatch.
used that for maximum destruction.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the time.
It worked, and it was
It
cheap.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. They go through. They kind of wait out at the shelter, and
Yeah.
they're looking for their mom afterward. And when they
Yeah, they
kinda pop up,
never make it to the shelter.
No,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They kind of make their way down to like this
like drainage ditch.
drainage. Well, no, that's later on.
They go to the beach too.
Yeah, they go to some kind of beach and they're kind of waiting out
Like
in
to
the
get
water,
away from the fire,
Yeah.
and they know they're safe by the beach.
Yeah, and they see all the fire.
spreading across
Yeah.
the town, and they kind of peek over the ravine, and their
berm.
entire village is gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Everything, it's burnt to a crisp. What they go over to the elementary school and they're asking,
They're saying this is where the victims are, like, because they can't find their mom.
they can't find
Right.
mom anywhere.
So they go to the high school or the elementary school, and the doctor's like,
hey,
follow me.
Right.
You know?
and it gives
It's
them
like
the
some
ring.
neighbor later takes the girl and whatever, and
Yeah.
he goes up and sees her, and you knew right away when you saw her, she's not making it out
No,
of that.
man,
Not at
she
all.
looks rough.
She's
She's all
about
bandaged.
98% burned, and
Yeah.
there's nothing left.
She's not even awake.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
doesn't
nothing they're
wake
going to
up.
be able to do. There's no
No.
hospital. There's no triage. There's no trauma center.
Lucky, and Andy said she just fell asleep,
Yeah.
so she's been
Probably screaming.
screaming the entire time. Yeah.
And he's like, can she take her medicine? She's got heart problems. And
Not
it's like,
anymore.
yeah, no. Now, Seita kind of goes and talks to his sister, Setsuko. He's like, yeah, they're going to take her to a different hospital and try and see if she can get some more treatment.
He didn't want to.
He knew.
He didn't want to burden her
And
with it.
it
Yeah.
shows them
She's what?
carrying...
Is she four? Four or
She's
five?
four.
Four.
Yeah. You get that scene of the ambulance, or not the ambulance, but the guys working at the center, and they're carrying her on a stretcher, and there's maggots all over her
On
body.
the ground, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And they just kind of dump her in, and then they light it on fire, and
Yeah. It was
it was rough.
rough.
It was really rough.
Yeah,
So,
it's not happy.
And then he maintains the lie to his sister for a long,
long
time.
time. Yeah. And they go stay with...
They go stay with an aunt,
Aunt.
and
It's
I hate
it's
this
their
woman.
father's sister.
I hate
Yeah.
this woman.
Yeah.
I hate her.
Yeah, she's terrible. She's a terrible
She's
person.
heartless.
A lot of people dub her as one of the worst anime villains.
Because
of
she
all
never
She has no compassion whatsoever.
but she never does anything that's just absolutely like terrible.
Yeah.
It's just altogether she's just terrible.
Yeah.
You know, how she talks to him, how she treats him, how she uses him.
Right.
And then accuses him of stuff. and,
Right.
you know.
Oh,
basically gets him to leave.
he
She's like,
goes
"Oh,
and gets
okay."
all their food, and then they bring it back to the aunt's house, and then the aunt starts distributing the food. Like, our family is getting this massive portion because we work, and
For
since
the
you guys
empire.
are, but
Even
you
though
guys
it was
aren't
my
doing
mother's
anything,
freaking clothes that bought this rice.
right? Well, that's later on. Yeah, she convinces Seita to go sell off all of her fancy komodos and get rice, and then same way with the rice where. Oh yeah, you guys can have this little bit because you guys don't really need it. You don't.
You're not doing anything.
You're not doing anything. And then the scene that really, really got me is that Seita is one of the most compassionate older brothers, where he's trying, like throughout the whole movie, every time they encounter adversity at any stretch, he's actively trying to do things, cheer up his little sister.
Yeah.
The entire time.
And for me, I correlated this movie back, and I put myself in Seita's shoes because I have a sister that's, same age difference between.
You would do anything
me.
to protect her.
And so I'm thinking the same thing of like, that's my little sister and he's trying to cheer her up. And there's one point where they're like playing on a piano and they're kind of having a good time. And he finally kind of got his little sister to kind of come out of her shell. And the aunt comes by and she's like, what the heck are you guys doing? You guys shouldn't be doing this. We got a war going on right now and you guys have better things to be doing than sitting around expending energy to do this, that, and the other. And I was just like,
Hater.
listen, they're kids. Let them play.
Right?
But, yeah.
Then she crosses the line later. I don't want to punch her in the face.
Right. Yeah. So, eventually...
now, when he tells the aunt that the truth that his mom died and she flies off the damn handle about it, I knew then, I was like, okay, so this is just going to go terrible for them. And it's not going to last long. I thought for some reason that there was going to be another bombing and they also were going to die
as well.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
Because they're terrible people.
Yeah.
So
they kind of go out adventuring and they find this abandoned bomb shelter, little ravine area.
It looks like a root cellar.
Yeah.
What it looks like.
Yeah, I think it's like storage for the house that's nearby.
Yeah.
Really?
So
which is no
you don't
longer
really
there.
know that until the end.
right.
Yeah.
Seita thinks that he can provide a better life for Setsuko by kind of staying in this little storage area. I think they think it's an abandoned bomb shelter, but yeah, it probably is that storage for
Right.
that other house. And during this point in time, they start
Sugarcoating thing.
and they're dropping little hints on
Things
malnutrition and they start
Sickness.
and they go swimming and she has 4-year-old little baby has rashes everywhere. Hygiene, because again she's not going to know properly how to wash herself. And
No.
he's 14 and he's not going to be able to
Tell a 4-year-old girl how to wash herself.
exactly. And it's and it's like this the rest of the movie where
It's just a steady decline to the end. After they move into the root cellar, it just gets progressively worse.
Right.
For Setsuko first, of course, because she gets really sick and gets, which I'm going to say is dysentery.
Yeah.
Or
because she starts having diarrhea. and,
really bad.
And they don't show all this, obviously, but she keeps saying that,
He finally takes her to the doctor at some point, and they pull her shirt off, and her skin is all chewed up with rash, and you can see all of her ribs. So she's not eating; she's being eaten alive by probably some skin rash or insect bites. Mm-hmm. They do need mosquito nets there.
Yeah, they do.
And I don't believe they had any.
They did at
the root cellar.
They did at the very beginning.
Yeah, he keeps telling her to go get
sit
in the net
underneath. Yeah. And during this whole period, I think one of the first nights they collect a whole bunch of fireflies and they take them into that cellar and they open it up, and that's like the way that they animated.
Yeah. That was kind of inspirational, and I liked that moment in that. Mm-hmm. But then they turn right around and twist the knife in your gut in the next scene when she's burying the fireflies, and she says, they're going in the grave just like Mom.
Yeah.
The aunt told me that she's dead and she's in the grave now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna shiv that woman. Because that's what you need to tell a 4-year-old.
And also the line of why do fireflies have to die so young?
Right? And then
oh my God.
And then Seita,
you're good. No, you're good.
Loses it.
Yeah.
Like he should, being a 14-year-old boy in charge of his 4-year-old sister in the middle of World War II in Japan.
Yep.
On the losing end, and hopefully he doesn't get to enjoy the big booty bomb coming twice.
Right.
Yeah, it just gets worse from there.
And during this, he starts like doing as much as he can to try and get food for her, and then ends up starting to steal.
Yeah.
And then
what he starts doing is he's waiting for the air raids to start. When everybody goes to the shelter, he goes to their houses.
Yeah, he takes off running
and starts robbing them. Which
everybody,
you got to do what you got to do to survive. And I don't blame him for it. And then he gets caught stealing food from a farmer
in the middle of the night,
and the dude beats the crap out of him, takes him to the cops,
yeah.
And the cops are like, "Yeah, I'm going to charge you instead. This kid was trying to steal food, and you're going to beat him up."
Yeah,
come on, guy, have a heart. That was the only good guy in the entire show. Was that cop?
Yeah, and even during I think there's one scene too where the farmer, before they get on the bad side, where the farmer's like, "Why don't you just swallow your pride and go back to the aunt?" And I'm like, "Do you know 14-year-old boys, like they are the most prideful,
they don't swallow pride.
Stubborn kids you'll ever meet."
Right.
So, but yeah, it's
as soon as that can of fruit drops that she loves so much goes empty, that's when their luck runs out.
And
And it's just
there's
a matter
another
of time.
There's another telling scene too where he gets that fruit cup for her, and she empties it out at one point just to take inventory.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 or 4
Crumbs.
of them together, and then there's a little bit of crumbs, and she knows that she wants to save those, so she takes the little crumbs and she eats those
Yeah.
and saves the other ones for later and puts
Yeah.
them back in the tin can.
Yeah.
Because she
That's when she was crying because she was so hungry.
yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, so
It was
there's
great.
a lot of scenes.
This podcast is bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I mean, I will say, I don't know if, I mean, we've gotten there yet, but the saddest scene to me in the entire movie is when she's sucking on the marble because she thinks it's,
That's towards the end. Yeah.
yeah, I can't,
Because she thinks it's candy.
I can't, that's the one scene that I just was like,
Candy.
blah!
I didn't
The
get
noise ever doing it, I was like, oh my
Any,
God.
I didn't get any tears in that one, but I was just
did.
like, ugh, this is just ugh.
I did not cry.
Really.
No.
I
It's
had-
the animation thing for me, I think. I mean,
I'm sorry,
obviously
but
I felt.
He comes back from doing an air raid, and she's laying on the ground, and she's not moving.
thought she
and
was
you
dead.
thought she was dead, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then she wakes up, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. It was just." And slowly, she declines to where she can no longer see. She's so hungry that she loses her ability to see, and she's just sitting in this shelter.
Ugh.
And he's trying to bring her food, and finally he breaks in, and he's like, "Okay, I got to break in that 7,000 yen," and he goes out and he buys all this stuff.
it's like
because
he buys
just-
the feast.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he tries to feed her watermelon,
And
she's like,
she eats
Yeah.
it.
It
she
was
eats
good.
it, and he says, "Thank you," and she, to me, she's saying thank you because she knows that she is going to go.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
for taking care of me.
Thank you for taking care of me, and thank you for.
I think the worst part in the entire movie is when he had to get the supplies
Yeah.
to cremate his sister.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
that was
I
awful.
agree.
I was like,
It's
you gotta
yeah,
be kidding
I
me.
felt
How
it.
much more are you going to ask this kid to do?
Yeah, he
There's-
goes and gets
like,
his mom's
literally.
final amount of money
Yeah.
to go buy coal.
Coal and
And then the guy was like,
watermelon.
make sure you put it in a or use whatever to get the fire hot enough to burn the body. And I'm like, you're telling a 14-year-old kid this.
And
like,
it's just like matter of fact, like this is how you make a roasted chicken.
yeah. Sorry, you're having to burn your 4-year-old little sister.
And during this part, it shows, and this again this is like the last 15 minutes of the movie where
Yeah, you just get stabbed
so
400
he-
times. Yeah. Oh, man. After that, when it just shows little clips of what she does when he's away.
yeah, and that's while she's being
Yeah, watch
buried,
that and fast forward.
and she's just playing while he's out, and yeah, it's
While
the
he's
scene
out,
happens.
like, having to steal.
Mm-hmm.
She's all by herself, a 4-year-old, next to a pond,
yeah.
in a cave, playing and having, like, the time of her life.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's wrong.
Right.
Even though she's slowly
'Cause you don't know
starving
anyone
to
else to
death.
Because you don't know any better.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you,
okay.
this is not one of the happiest movies I've ever watched in my
Right.
entire life.
And he
I don't regret that I watched it. I'll
yeah.
never watch it again.
Yeah. I think this is a masterpiece that I'm only going to watch once.
Yeah.
So he scatters her ashes, and then he takes a little bit of it and he puts it in the fruit
tin.
can, and
Takes it with him.
takes it with him, and then
Still carrying
He
his
says-
sister with him.
yeah, throughout the rest of his life, and then
Which is what?
Maybe a year.
Maybe.
No, maybe
weeks, I would
yeah,
say.
weeks.
Because he
Well,
was starving too.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you get to the streets, you start finding
But I think
ways
he
to
just
survive.
gave up.
yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do too.
Yeah, he
would've.
just was done.
Yeah,
I'm
He
just gonna go
starved
sit here
himself.
until I'm dead.
Yeah.
If I was going to think of the most horrible ending and how that probably ended, like if I had to fill that gap between when she died and when he died, it was just he just went straight to the platform
Yeah.
and sat there until he died.
Yeah.
and I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Earlier on, I said this is a semi-autobiography short story, and
It's based on the picture,
author-
right?
what?
It's based on the picture, I thought. There's a picture
Yeah.
of a little boy carrying
Carrying a
his
little girl.
deceased sister on his back.
Yeah.
And it's like a famous like World War II picture.
Well, so the author went through almost the exact same thing, and when he said that he'd run through houses to steal food for the air raids, he would get so hungry that when he found food that he would just eat it and then bring a little bit back to his sister. And so he made this short story, and
It's
the
just
movie,
human nature, you know,
Yeah.
like you can't help it.
you can't help it.
Yeah.
And so he made this short story as an apology to his little sister because he wishes that he would have died along with her. And so it was kind of an apology. And so hopefully, like, he was kind of hoping that with this movie - short story that his sister would forgive him in the afterlife.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, whew, I know.
You thought Catholics were guilty.
Yeah, I know, right? So let me wipe the tears away from my eyes real quick. So that was Grave of the Fireflies.
Gee, thanks.
It's a feel-good movie of the year.
Yeah.
Probably one of the saddest movies I've ever watched.
It's the feel-good movie of the year if those films included Schindler's List, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas,
Yeah.
Bambi, Old Yeller, stuff like that. Shane.
Whew, goodness. So what'd you guys think of Grave of the Fireflies?
Well, I didn't hate it. David?
I didn't hate it. I didn't like it either. I mean, I think that when I'm watching a movie, I want to watch something that, like, I guess I'm not a sad movie person.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
like sad movies. I appreciate sadness in movies when they make you feel, but there's other stuff. But this is literally just beating you to a pulp with sadness.
Right.
And so
It's one terrible
I
thing after
don't
another.
I don't want to watch a movie like that. I appreciate the animation. I appreciate the history of it. I appreciate the story. I didn't hate it by any means. I
Right.
just don't want
to watch it again. Yeah. No, I
was
100% agree.
exhausted afterwards. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything left to say before we get into our rating?
Nope. Why don't
Nope.
you,
no. I mean, yeah.
Why don't you tell us how those ratings go?
At top tier, we have an S, which is like creme de la creme of movies. So far, we have The Exorcist and we have The Way, Way Back. And then A is just like, it's just under the quote unquote perfect movie where it's really good. There's very few flaws with the movie.
Right.
And then B is like above average, where it's good. C is your average film.
May
D,
or may not watch again.
yeah. But there's A's that I would
Right.
might
There's
not
lots,
watch it.
but
Yeah.
your odds are of the C's, there's probably more you're going to not watch than you are going to watch.
right. And then D is just bad. The movie itself, the making of the movie,
It's got some redeeming qualities somewhere,
yeah.
but
it's not
a good movie.
Not
Right.
at all. And then F is just a complete failure of a film.
Yeah.
So it did not set out any goals that it
Dog water.
had. So with that being said, since I picked the movie, I feel like it'd probably be right for me to go first.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to probably give this, I was teetering on an S, but for me, this is probably more like an A+.
Okay.
The only thing dragging it down, I'm going to put it on the same tier of like 12 Years a Slave, where it's well made. Like, it is very good. I would recommend, if you don't care about subtitles, then I'd watch this subtitled. If you can't get through it, then dubbed is the way to go, I guess. That's the only, like, one of the only complaints is some of the voice acting outside, kind of like what Lee was talking to me about earlier, where outside of some of the main characters, some of the voice acting on it was not very good.
No, I agree with that.
So, but other than that, I mean, the story is hard hitting. It's impactful. I feel like it's very important, even though it's sad all the way through. I do feel like it's very important movie. So, I think that's A+ for me.
All right. What do you want? You want to go first?
You.
All right, I'll go first. Again, just to echo David, I didn't hate it. It was a very good story. It was very well written, and I don't know what you call that kind of cinematography, but it was good.
Right.
The
The
art-
drawing animation.
The
was-
art,
Animation.
the art
That's-
direction was great, which is what I expect from that studio. They make great stuff.
Oh, of course.
But I'm just not into the subject material.
Right.
It's one of those things that I know that stuff happened,
and it still happens.
and it still happens every day, and I get it. I do. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's not something I want to watch to entertain myself.
Yeah.
I usually watch movies to escape reality.
And
not-
I mean,
not
really,
reinforce it.
this was made to be it's entertainment.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's made for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't
I get
necessarily
it.
say that, but
It followed what movie?
My Neighbor Totoro.
Right.
But they made that in order to get
I understand, but they
They put this in there so people would
watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Like, yeah, go continue.
I get it. Maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the Japanese people feel like they are compelled to make these films to commemorate and educate
Right.
what their people went through during those times, which I fully understand. Because I think there's a lot of stories about our own culture that need to be told, and
Right.
not a lot of them are very good.
Yeah.
Again, I'm the guy that makes you hate white people, but we've done horrible stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
And we've reviewed those movies.
I tell a joke all the time. Why are the pyramids in Egypt? That's because the British couldn't figure out how to get them back to England,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We show up, we take your stuff. That's what we have done historically, and I don't know why we can't talk about that.
Right.
Because it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of those movies that, you need to understand there's consequences to your actions. You want to start a war with another country and that country retaliates, your people are going to pay the price.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be your military. It's going to be everybody. So having said that, I give this movie a B+.
Okay.
Very well told. Again, very hard hitting, sad as hell.
Yeah.
It's just sad, just sad sack.
Yeah.
My top note for this was Jesus sad.
Yeah.
But it flowed fine. It had a decent tempo. I had to get up a couple of times because I just got kind of antsy.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's fine. B+. I'm still never going to watch it again.
Yeah.
Probably because the hoops I'm going to have to jump through just to watch it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
not going to happen again.
Right.
So
No trips to the
B+.
library.
I'm right there with you. I feel like animation was great. Story was sad, but good.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to get into animation.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. I know that it's a good movie. I'm aware that it's a good movie.
Right.
I personally was like, eh. And even afterwards, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, God dang, like, I want something besides just sitting there feeling like a sad piece of shit the entire time. I did. I just felt like a sad sack just sitting there,
Right.
just like,
Right.
God. Like, it's so terrible to feel this way. So that's where my problem is like, I want a movie. I like movies to make me feel sad. Like,
Right.
I want to feel. I just don't want to feel sad the entire time.
Yeah.
You get punched in the face the first line
Yeah.
of this movie, and it never lets up, ever. It's continuously stabbing you in the gut, in the heart, and making you think about the realities of life. And I go to the movies to forget about that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And here we are, like, watching an hour and 39 minutes of, sadness.
Yeah.
That being said, I am aware that it is a fantastic movie. I'm giving it a B.
Okay.
Just a straight B. I can't say that it's a bad movie. I can't
Right.
say I would recommend it. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
But I very much appreciate the passion that went into making it.
Were you guys glad that you watched the movie?
I could care less.
yeah,
Really?
couldn't.
Nothing about it. I'll never say, that's like, I didn't tick it off my resume. Right. I'm not mad that I watched it.
No.
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
Indifferent.
I'm mad that I watched Argyle.
yeah.
I'm not mad that I watched this.
Yeah.
This actually
Yeah.
had redeeming qualities. Had brought something
Absolutely.
to the table,
Right.
brought me information I didn't have.
yeah, I didn't know. It was,
So,
it was
works for
definitely
me.
educational.
But yeah, Argyle. No, I don't want to watch that piece of turd ever again.
Yeah.
So I watched it with my wife. We're both like huge Studio Ghibli fans, okay? And then Logan wasn't supposed to watch it, but he ended up watching it somehow. And I was laying on the couch and I was watching it, and by the end of it, because I don't know when I started crying, but I was crying for most of this movie. And I had like a pool, and I thought it was sweat, but it was tears because my whole face was just wet from crying the freaking entire movie. I've never cried that much in a movie ever. I'll be honest with you.
Crazy.
And same with my wife. She was like, oh my God. And then, at the end of the movie, there's this little thing on the side, like on the other side of the couch, a blanket. And I was like, that blanket wasn't like that. And Logan's just like red in the face. And he's like, and I'm
You've
like,
scarred him.
I'm sorry, but
Shiv.
I'm
You've
sorry.
scarred him.
So, emotional night for the household, at least.
Good job.
But, all right, well, that was our review of Grave of the
It
Fireflies.
was A minus.
A minus is good for me. Are you guys good
Yeah,
with it?
I'm good with that.
So, all right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Sorry,
Glad
I
your
was so
spirits were
negative.
so
I'm usually
lifted.
not the negative one, but
No, you're good.
it's not even that I was negative. I just am very, I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're
hands in the
you're
air.
fine.
Yeah.
You're not negative.
This-
You're just not positive.
Right. That's right. That's right. I'm neutral.
This shouldn't have been our first animated movie. I apologize for that.
That's all right.
But
There
all
will
right.
be many more to come.
I'm
Oh,
sure
I'm
there
sure.
will.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Oil.
Wait.
Oi, oi.
Oi. Hello and welcome to the Postcast. Happy Memorial Day weekend and safe travels to everyone going out. Wanted to say thank you to all those that served and died protecting those they love. I also wanted to say thank you to all our loyal and new listeners. Shout out new listeners and subscribers on YouTube. We recently passed the 150 sub mark. Thank you so much for helping and supporting us on this journey. We wanted to invite you all to check out our Facebook group or check out our Reddit sub. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and tell us what you think the movie should be rated, and follow us wherever podcasts are found. Look for our next episode, Monday, June 3rd, as we review our first A24 film, X. We hope you've enjoyed our program just as much as we did recording for you. Thank you, and stay tuned for our next episode.